I'm Greg Hunter. This is the weekly news wrap up for Friday, July 10th, 2020. It is the WNW 439. Joe Biden is out. He says he's a moderate. No, he's not. He's a far leftist. That's where the money's coming from. That's where the party has gone. It's gone far left, Marxist, communist, Marxist revolution. And Biden says out in an interview, police have become the enemy and calls for defunding the police. Biden suggests Rayshard Brooks would have been alive today if a mental health counselor in a tow truck were sent out that night to confront the drunk, belligerent man passed out in the front of Wendy's in Atlanta. Yes, that's right. No more laws. We should coddle criminals. Listen, Rayshard Brooks should not have resisted arrest. He passed out at a Wendy's. He blew, 1 point something. He was intoxicated, clearly. The whole thing centered around, hey, listen, we need to coddle criminals. And Biden, along with all the other Democrats in the party now, we want to defund the police. I mean, they burned out New York and looted it. They burned out Minneapolis, major problems in other cities around the country, LA, Baltimore, Chicago. I mean, this is the Democrat hell that they want to increase. This is what they're running on. They're also running on reparations. Biden and Sanders, Biden, a communist, they're wanting reparations. They want to take money suck out a giant chunk of money out of the country and hand it to black people for reparations that even their grandparents weren't slaves. They want to destroy America. That's the whole point about burning out the statues. They want to raise your taxes. They want to free health care for everyone. No borders. I kid you not. Biden wants no borders. Biden wants to make voters out of 22 million people. You know, his idea is we want to raise taxes. We want to give free health care to illegal aliens. We have a war on cops. We want to crack down on ICE. This is Biden. And the Democrat Party. He's the leader, de facto leader of the party. The Green New Deal, which is a farce hoax that they invented on the weekend just to, tax people and control them and call it green and some, cool little phrase to basically say we're going to make your life more expensive and harder. And this is what the Democrats are going for. Quite unbelievable. Raise taxes, no Second Amendment, no First Amendment. They want to be the permanent party in power, just like the Marxist communists. And they're going for it. That's what this is about. All the protests aren't protests. They are acts of terrorism. He's talking about that the police are militarized and, they become the enemy. Militarized? Are you kidding me? They're allowing protesters, terrorists, to walk out on 4 and 5 lane highways and stop traffic with multiple vehicles where people get run over at 1:30 in the morning. They are telling people to stand down as they burn and loot New York, Minneapolis, and you name it. I mean, even in my city here in Greensboro, North Carolina, they busted out hundreds of windows. They caused them more than $1 million worth of damage. And then they got a big BLM sign painted in a downtown street in Greensboro. I'd like to have a big MAGA sign down there, or a big USA Watchdog sign down there, or some political, hey, GOP or whatever, some political slogan. They're allowing their streets to be taken over by Black Lives Matter. And then you have the mayors down there, which you should look at the cartoon and all the young children being shot, and this is all part of their movement. And, now they got a reward for this 8-year-old girl that was killed in Atlanta because the Mayor Brooks didn't step in and institute law and order. I'll just read this. She says, enough is enough, Mayor Bottoms. Continued that if people want people to take us seriously, take us, what do you mean? What, you're part of the protesters? To take us seriously, you don't want us to lose this movement. We can't lose each other. Take us seriously. I thought she was the mayor of all of Atlanta. Nope, she's the BLM mayor. She's the Antifa mayor. It's pretty quite unbelievable. This is not about civil rights. We had that movement already. It was needed. It was done. It happened. We had a black president for 8 years. And now we have the ungrateful Ilhan Omar, who was saved out of a Somali refugee camp. Ilhan Omar calls for dismantling of America's economy and political system. We must begin the work of dismantling the whole system of oppression wherever we find it. That she's oppressed. Right. That's why she gave $878 $100,000 to her now husband after she was married to allegedly her brother. And now she has some ethics people screaming that she needs to be investigated for ethics. And she calls it a system of oppression while she's handing $878,000 allegedly to her new husband. Really, she's oppressed. And then she's talking about guaranteeing health care and the usual stuff, free everything. I mean, they're talking this a movement towards total Marxism, total control, total dissolution of the Constitution, the United States of America, destroy our statutes, our history, completely take over the country. There's going to be a fight, folks. Nobody should sit down on the right and lay down and take this. That's not, don't think, if you just be quiet and go, it'll all go away. You know, corporate America is embracing this Black Lives Matter Marxism. The NFL embracing Marxism. The NBA embracing Marxism. I'll never watch another NFL football game. It's been 3 years since I watched a stupid bowl. And here we have more of the same, just to tell you where we're going. This is not about civil rights. This is not about police brutality. This is not about, there is no statistics or data that can back up a racially motivated attack on black people by the police. It ain't happening. 90% of the crimes are happening in the black community are committed by black people. Black people commit way more crimes on whites than whites commit on black. Also, white people are not hunting down black people and committing crimes against them. It's not happening. The data's not there. So this is all morphing. This is morphing. And here we have just a, I know she's not in charge, but, radical city, Seattle City Council member. This is one of the CHOP people that allowed that to go on. Kashima Sawant vows to overthrow the United States and replace with a socialist world. The speech was delivered by a socialist alternative member and the Seattle City Council member, Kashima Sawant, during a historic city council meeting that passed a $200 million tax on top of a 3% corporations, 3% of corporations massively expand affordable housing. Free stuff for everyone. We're going to take money from these people, and they think that that Amazon, this is Amazon they're talking about, are just going to stay there with their headquarters in Seattle. Really? This is about taking money from these people and giving it to these people. And if you complain, that's why we don't want a Second Amendment. That's why we don't want you to have a First Amendment. That's why we don't want you to complain. That's why we want to take every position in every government. Everyone. I mean, including my state, they targeted the sheriff's departments in the three biggest counties. Mecklenburg, Guilford, and I think Durham, or over, Raleigh-Durham area, which is, I think, Durham County. But anyway, and they got the top spot in the Supreme Court, the Attorney General's office. Oh, he wants to give health care to everybody, the Attorney General of North Carolina. And then the governor who, signed a bill that wouldn't protect babies that were taken out of the womb. And now we know why, because according to the Center for Medical Progress and the video depositions that were recently allowed to be released, they were harvesting the organs from live fetuses, live babies. They were harvesting the organs from live babies. Great job, Governor Cooper. Make sure you have the right to harvest the organs of live babies. And that's what people have voted into the office, this Cooper, this nut job that's going to continue this shutdown. And I think the whole the COVID thing is way over the top, and it's a way over reaction, and it's designed to keep the economy shut down and everybody in misery. That's what the Democrats are going for. And if not outright violence and overthrow, as this city council member is just letting it out of the bag. They're all just letting their freak flags fly. That's what we got going on here. We're headed for real trouble, folks. And this year, not down the road, this year. If Trump does get elected, whew, man, unbelievable. I want to bring this up. And I was going to write a lot about it myself, but really I just went on, I tell you, listen, if you want to find out really what's going on with the president, go onto his Twitter page. Go on to Donald Trump's Twitter page and read it from the source. Unfiltered, unfettered from his Twitter page. So, just if you could just do that, that would be just fantastic. Hold on, let me just see if we can stop that. Okay, good. So, the Supreme Court win and a loss, kind of. That's the way I'm looking at it. Trump tax ruling from Supreme Court, a win and a loss. The win it blocked Congress for now as it heads back to a lower court the case to get his tax records. There is no a requirement for anyone to show their tax records. They have in the past, but there is no requirement to do so. Donald Trump has been investigated up one side and down the other from while he was a candidate all the way up to now. And just want to let you know what Donald Trump thinks about all this. So here we have, he's got good lawyers, though. He's got Jay Sekulow. So Supreme Court ruled President Trump not immune from a New York DA subpoenas of his tax returns. And what they really want is they want some of the tax returns, some of the information from Deutsche Bank. Who knows when they'll get this done. The good news is likely none of this stuff gets settled until after the election. So that's the deal. He's pissed they didn't just end it, bam, right now. My thing is this: so you're going to allow a local DA, New York, or whether it's New York or St. Louis or Los Angeles or anywhere, do you really want state level prosecutors to go on a fishing trip to harass the president? Do we really want that? I think that's outrageous. He's been investigated. They're on. There's no crime. They have no crime. They're just on a fishing trip. This is like some of the stuff, some of the poison, the fruits of a poison tree, Michael Cohen, which the Mueller investigation was illegitimately impaneled. It was indeed a witch hunt. Here's more tweeting from the president. I just want to get it from him because I think he's spot on. Okay, so this is all Thursday the 9th. The Supreme Court sends case back to lower court. Arguments to continue. This is a political persecution. He's right about that. This didn't happen to Bush 43 or Obama 44 or any other president. I won the Mueller witch hunt and others, and now I have to keep fighting in a politically corrupt New York. Not fair to this presidency or administration. That's absolutely correct. They're just on a fishing trip. Some local DA. Just really outrageous. And then it continues. Courts in the past have been given broad deference, but not me. And I know he kind of sounds like he's whining here, but man, he's trying to conduct the job of the presidency. There's a lot of heat on him. There's a lot of stuff going down. We're entering a greater depression because of this hoax of this COVID thing, which he's handled better than anybody could have been imagined handled. And no Republican Senate Judiciary response. No justice, no FBI, no nothing. Major horror show reports on Comey and McCabe. Guilty as hell. Nothing happens. Catch Obama and Biden cold. Nothing. A 3-year, $45 million Mueller hoax. Investigated everything for another president. This is about, as we say, prosecutorial misconduct. We catch the other side spying on my campaign. The biggest political crime and scandal in U.S. history. This is another tweet of his. This is on Thursday. And nothing happens. But despite this, I've done more than any president in history in the first 3.5 years. And that's hard to dispute. I'm not a Republican. But that's hard to dispute that he's done a magnificent job, despite the fact he's been attacked by the Democrats, his own party, the deep state, the FBI, the CIA, the Justice Department, which I think he's got control on now, all that stuff. Meanwhile, you have Joe Biden. Nothing happened to Joe and Hunter Biden. Joe Biden is on camera at the Council on Foreign Relations, basically telling all those people who hate America that, hey, man, I'm your criminal. I was telling a story about how, you better fire that prosecutor who was investigating his son, or you don't get $1 billion. You talk, what? It's on camera. Nothing happens. No, Rudolph Giuliani, former mayor of New York and former Southern District of New York, top federal prosecutor, say Biden sold his office. And then you've got the $1.5 billion his son Biden got while riding on Air Force Two to China. How did they, what happened there? $1.5 billion? Biden, Hunter said, I'm going to get rid of all that stuff. No, he hasn't. And then you have the Epic Times, which I love, and everybody should support this newspaper. They have an online version too, but I just want to bring this up. America counters unrestricted warfare. You see who they're countering? And then it says, hold on. This is amazing. This is, and that you don't think Joe Biden should be countered? Every 10 hours, the FBI opens a new counterintelligence investigation connected to China's regime. This is Christopher Wray this week. Christopher Wray, the FBI director, comes out and he says China is the biggest long-term threat, and he names some of the big threats is spying and bribery. What he's supposed that $1.5 billion to Hunter Biden and Biden family is all about. No investigation. Nothing. Nope. Nothing. And yet they want Donald Trump's tax returns, and they've done, 4 years of investigation. Actually, they started investigating him in 2015. I mean, it's 4 or 5 years. They've been investigating they've got nothing on him. They had to make stuff up, folks. Remember that? How many times I said they made it up? They had to make it up. And they want something to knock him out of the race, knock him out of office, knock him out. Yet nothing happens to the Bidens. It's like, cheat all you want. It's okay. We're the deep state. We're protected. Laws don't apply to us. I want to talk to you about the economy. Listen, I don't want to be a downer in the economy. I want you to tell you in no uncertain terms, Donald Trump's the right guy to be here, but he's got a heck of a mess on his hands. He had a pretty good economy, minus the debt. That's a different subject. The $41 trillion the day he walked into office and put his hands on the Bible, and overt and covert debt. That number, according to Mark Skidmore, is probably tens of trillions of dollars higher. But the economy was pretty good. And I want to tell you that the economy, for some reason, doesn't look that bad. It looked worse in 08 and 09. We didn't have all the stimulus in 08 and 09. They just let it go kaplunk. I mean, they bailed out the banks, and they let everybody else take one in the face. Right? Take a pie in the face. And it doesn't look that bad this time because of all the money printing and all the Paycheck Protection Plan and the CARES Act and all the money going. I mean, the airlines got $25 billion, but that's going to run out. And I don't want you to get a false sense of security, which is why I've been telling the police, the majority, this is a psyop. The majority of people do not hate the police. Not even the minorities. They don't hate the police. Don't quit. There's no jobs there. There's something like, for every job opening right now, there's 4 people applying for that job. Right now. So police, don't quit. Back off, take their orders, stand down, do what you got to do to survive until we can get control of this, but just do it. Don't quit. We need you there. Let's start with American Airlines. This sinks after warning 36,000 jobs at risk. According to United, 36,000 workers, or 45% of the U.S. positions, may be impacted or laid off by October 1st. According to United, 36,000 workers, or 45% of the positions, may be impacted or laid off by July 1st. Excuse me, October 1st. I have a mistake there. Sorry. I repeated it. Fallout from the coronavirus pandemic is the worst crisis, this is according to United, to hit the airline industry and United Airlines. A United executive said on Wednesday, we can't count, here we go, we can't count on additional government support to survive. Why October 1st? That's when the CARES Act money, the PPP money, that's when that starts running out. Now, are they going to have another somewhat stimulus program, according to Mitch McConnell? Yes. Probably won't be as rich, although sometimes I think I hear Donald Trump saying it's going to be even more generous. I don't know. But that's going to end, folks. And this is what, this is from United. This is what United's air traffic looks like. And this starts, you take a look at starting in February. Man, we're off to a great year. It's going great. And then Corona, boom. And then we don't have a V-shaped recovery. We have this. It's down 87%. 87%. This is according to United. And I think you look at air traffic in general. And the reason why I'm talking about airlines, well, I don't fly with. There are hotels, there are rental car companies, restaurants, conventions, all kinds of stuff. And here is the just showing it to you on a big chart. Here is, the year over year. It's going great, man. We're doing great. We're fantastic. And then now it's down 74% in general. 74%. You start over here on the far side of the page, 3-1. This just happened since March of 20. This big cliff dive, this traffic just plunged. Well, they almost lost 100% of the traffic. It's worked up a little. Well, they got a 10% back. I mean, it's still down 74% overall. And now they're talking about, oh, it's COVID, to scare you, to make sure that you're afraid, be very afraid. Instead of saying, oh, listen, if you get it in the first 5 days, there's a 99.7 according to Zev Zelensky, Dr. Zelensky, and also Didier Raoul, and there's anywhere between a 92 and a 99% survival rate if you just take hydroxychloroquine, zinc, and a Z-Pack. And if you're under 45, your chances of dying are virtually zero. But no, you have to scare you. Everybody's driving around with masks on and whatever. It's yet another huge psyop. A huge psyop. And then we have this apocalypse, and everybody is thinking, oh, it's going to come back. Oh, it's going to come right on back. Not this time, folks. I want you to be warned. I want you to be bracing yourself. It doesn't feel so bad because people are they're at home. They're getting their paycheck protection money. They're getting an extra $600, and it's going to end, I think, this month. They're not going to come back to work because they're going to ride it out. Stupid. You should be getting your job. There are some people I know that I never got laid off. I kept my job the whole time. I never got any unemployment. Those are the people that are going to have jobs when this is over. Not everybody's going to be laid off. But when this money ends, there's going to be a rush of people going, oh, I need to get a job now. And before, they were pretty plentiful. You could get almost, anybody could get a job. Before, maybe not a high-paying job, but you get a job. That's not going to be happening right now. As I told you, for every one job, there's 4 people that are applying for it. And then you look at this retail apocalypse. I mean, this is what it looks like in terms of CMBS. That's the commercial mortgage-backed securities, and the default rate. And people are behind payments. Back down in here, back in March. April, put my glasses on here, right here, February's at a low. Look at that. The economy was doing great. Oh my gosh, the economy was doing fantastic. And then the corona thing happened, and boom, you got people 30, 60, 90 days behind, 10%. That's what that shows. And they say this is going to hit a record. And then if you look at the amount of stores, the retail apocalypse with the 8,700 stores closing, and that number is set to rise. I mean, you're talking about AT&T is closing 250 stores, like they're not making any money, but they're probably making less. Bed Bath & Beyond closing 44 stores. You ever been in those stores? They're huge. They probably employ 50 people, 60 people. GNC, J. Crew, JCPenney, Kmart, Pier 1, all going bankrupt and all closing stores. Pier 1 is closing 936 stores. There must be 10 or 15 people in each store. Macy's closing 100 stores over the next 3 years. Starbucks closing 400 stores in the next 18 months. Starbucks. That's just a few of the restaurants I picked out. This is not going to be V-shaped. They're not going to turn around in a few months and then have Starbucks open 400 more stores. They're not going to. Pier 1, Kmart, JCPenney, J. Crew, GNC, bankrupt. They're not coming back. So, save your money, pay some stuff off, store some food, and this is a global event. I mean, the powerhouse, just little headlines I want to bring up to you just to make my point. And I'm not trying to be Debbie Downer here. I'm trying to tell you that this is, I'm wondering, why doesn't this feel worse? Because people at home collecting their paycheck protection plan along with another $600, that's going to end. United has been able to pay people, with the CARES Act. That's going to end. This is going to end. They may get another one. It's going to go through November, I'm pretty sure. May go through the end of the year. Brace yourself. And then add in all the violence and crazy, because the Democrats can't win a straight-up election on ideas. It cannot do it. They got to bring in illegal aliens and get 22 more million people, at least 11, 22. This is Joe Biden, who calls himself a moderate. He's now down with Bernie Sanders on reparations. We're just going to rob the country blind and take a big chunk of money from these people and hand it to other people. Outrageous. They want total control all the time. They want no borders. This is Joe Biden. They're telling police to stand down, not the police fault. You know, these people on the highways and then burning all these cities down and burning all this stuff down. The police are being told by the mayors and the police chiefs and the governors in these wackadoodle left-wing states to stand down and let them burn it. Now, Minneapolis, wants the president to declare Minneapolis a disaster zone, and they need all federal money to rebuild it. Really? Yeah, after their incompetence and political stunt to make things as miserable as possible for anybody in the state of Minnesota. I got this theory, and I saw it reverberated in a story, and that is, this is not going to show up in polls. It already showed up with black people. About 40% say they're going to vote for Trump, and that's the people brave enough to say, yeah, I'm going to vote for Trump. I've had enough of this. I mean, I don't know how all this illegal alien refugee and illegal immigration and all this massive amounts of social program helps people who are American citizens here that are black. It doesn't. But I think there's going to be a percentage of Democrats that aren't going to tell their friends and neighbors, but they're like, after watching New York be burned and looted, and Minneapolis, and all these problems in Baltimore, and Chicago, and all this rioting and crazy. I think there are some Democrats who are like, wow, I have a house, I have a car, I don't want my windows punched out. I don't want them stopping me on a 10-lane both ways interstate and bust my windows out. I don't want them to turn my neighborhood into a chop zone like they did for 8,000 people in Seattle. I think there's going to be a percentage of Democrats going to go, I'm not going to tell you this, but I'm going to vote for Republicans. This is a bridge too far. I think so. You're not going to find this in the polls. Of course, they lie about all the polls. Biden's up by 10 points. It's crazy time. He's not going to debate President Trump. He won't do it. They won't let him. He's incompetent. He's made a lot of mental gaffes. Although this interview with this guy that he said that the police were militarized and they're the enemy. They're now the enemy of the people. He seemed pretty coherent there. But that's the problem. You can't be coherent a little bit. You have to be coherent all the time. But this is shows you how global this economy is. 83% of German firms with industrial exposure warn of collapsing revenues. This is 83% of firms in Germany, the powerhouse of Germany, they're worrying about their revenues tanking. And last but not least, when you look at the amount of jobs lost, another million, more than a million applied for unemployment. Again this week. And we're up to almost 50 million Americans have filed for first-time jobless benefits since the lockdowns began. This is what it looks like, folks, on a chart. Here's all the jobs created since 2010. This includes Obama and Donald Trump. Probably half of these are Donald Trump. Here's all the jobs we lost in the last, 16 weeks? Are you getting the picture of how bad this is? Now, if there wasn't the Paycheck Protection Plan and the CARES Act and all this money, oh my gosh, people would be rioting in streets. You would see major disappointment and major angst and fear and people on the street begging money. It'd be worse than what it is now. What Yelp is saying, this is what Salente said, 53% of restaurants aren't going to open back up, not going to do it. Just can't. And ones that are they going to be able to make it, or are they going to use another 20 or 30 or 40% of those that open back up that just, I can't make it this way? And they're not wanting to open up the economy. I think they should have never done any of this. We should have done what Sweden did and told old people to stay home and let's protect them. Let's protect the people who are at risk, and let's, go on. But, they don't report that the deaths have plunged. They don't report that in the mainstream media. Just fear, fear, fear. Wear a mask, even though in 2018 the CDC said wear a mask doesn't help. But whatever. We are in a Marxist revolution, folks. This is not about some better treatment for black folks. That ain't about that. There is no data that supports the police hunting down, being racially motivated to hunt down black people and persecute them and unfairly arrest them and harass them. That's not happening. White people are not unfairly and inordinately, attacking black people. It's the other way around. There is less white on black attacks than there is black on white attacks. And the stats are clear that the 13% of the population, that's the black population, they commit an inordinate amount, 40, 50% of the crime, depending on murder, burglary, whatever. Unbelievable. And, so that it's not about that. They can't make that case. All they're now saying, oh, it's oppressed, it's unfair, oh, who's getting paid, we need to have a new system, we need to tear down old America and Columbus and everything else, because, they don't want America, they are godless Marxists. This is good versus evil. And preachers should be ashamed of themselves for not preaching about this and telling people to stand up and prepare themselves. Listen, and I'll say this again, Jesus Christ did not get a tax deduction from the Romans. He just preached. So you should worry less about your 501c3 and more about what's coming down the path, and tell people some meaningful stuff about what is really going on. That's what I'm doing. So listen, folks, I just want you to be prepared. I don't want you to be fearful. I want you to know what's coming. What's coming is going to be the Greatest Depression. You don't even know what that looks like, because we don't know what the Great Depression looked like, but it's going to be bad. I want you to get ready for it so you can weather the storm, and it's going to go on for years. So, some people say, hey, should I go out and buy silver? Do you have your car title? No. Get your car title. Should I go out and buy some precious metals? I don't know. Do you have good tires on your car? No. Buy good tires for your car. This is going to get medieval here. Where food and a good transportation, your horse, you're going to have to really be able to survive. And the best way to do that is get your stuff working correctly and get it paid off and get the titles in your name. That's the best way you can do it. We do have some time. This thing's not going to really, when I say we do have some time, the violence is going to go off the charts. And this is what Gerald Celente said. The violence is going to go crazy. And it's going to go crazy because the Democrats know they can't win an election. Not without cheating. And, here we have on the Epic Times, this is another Epic Times that's here. And they talked about here, this is back in June, but it makes sense. This is, the green states this is all the people that can vote by mail. This is totally, everybody gets mail voting here, right? What, Democrat, maybe Republican. This is like they have to have a excuse. That's what they're pushing for, cheat by mail. They want to flood the system with all kinds of votes. I don't know if they can pull that off. They're going to try. In every election, they caught in the last election in 2018 midterm elections, getting illegal aliens voting and DACA members in Texas. They had 1 million, according to Judicial Watch, more than 1 million voters on the rolls that should be taken off here in North Carolina. That's just unbelievable amounts of fraud and cheating. We're in a heck of a fight. And then now they add all the intimidation, like the brown shirts of 1930s Germany, to intimidate people. They want to shut down the economy and intimidate people. And you can't be fearful and you can't be intimidated. And you have to know what's going on and why they're doing what they're doing. It's not because somebody is oppressed. It's because they like to dunk America and bring it back as a communist state. And that's simply what they want. A godless communist state. That's why they don't even want you going to church. Please don't give up your faith. Even if you don't go to church, read the Bible. And the people that are lucky enough to go to church, they don't want you to sing. Make a joyful noise to the Lord. That's what singing is all about in church. That's what it says in the Bible. So, be prepared. Be informed. Know what's coming. Don't give up your faith. Don't give up. Don't be fearful. That's what they want. They want you to be afraid. Don't be afraid. Prepare yourself mentally, physically, above all, spiritually. Jesus Christ and his Father and the Holy Spirit are all firmly in control. Thank you for supporting USA Watchdog with your comments and donations. Thank you for your comments on YouTube. You know, YouTube has the videos. I play the videos on USA Watchdog just to let you know. None of the video plays from USA Watchdog count to my total. So if you see a total on YouTube, you can pretty much double it. That's how many views that I'm not getting counted when I embed the videos on USA Watchdog. I suspect it's every time somebody embeds it. But anyway, just make sure that you get yourself prepared, you harden yourself up, you get some cash in the bank, pay off some debt. Don't stop, just keep going. Don't just keep making your position better and better every week you can. And expect the violence to increase, because that's what they're going with now. They're going with violence, chaos, defund the police, because they want to defund the police and tell them to stand down if they want to commit all this violence and chaos. And so this is what the Democrats are going for. This is what they're going for. Prepare yourself again. I'm telling you this again. It's worthwhile saying. Prepare yourself mentally, physically, above all spiritually. God the Father and the Son, Jesus Christ, are firmly in control. Thank you for supporting USA Watchdog with your comments and donations. That helps us out. Thank you very much. Fear not.